Here we go. Let's try e4. Alex 7KR, maybe from Russia, plays the center counter, or Scandinavian opening. And he just goes back. Oftentimes they try queen here, but a lot of times the queen gets chased back there anyway. Should be okay for white. Nothing special. White has slight advantage in space. Can go for some kind of normal setup here. Ah, he's going for a fianchetto. Maybe I should play pawn to c3 to support the center here. I'm also preparing to play bishop to g4 if he doesn't do something. So let's go ahead and go with that. It's not needed right away, but it'll be played eventually. Guess I want to keep the bishop out of the way on the d file. I don't have much chance of lining up for a attack along this diagonal with that structure, unless I soften it up with a pawn first. But it's more logical, I think, to try and play in the center here. I can get a knight to the square. He can attack there. So that's interesting. Can I defend it in some tactical way? Yeah, let's just defend it. So he unpinned his knight with tempo. That's what that move did. And now he's preparing to kick my bishop, I guess. If I play knight here, he can play f6. So I have to be careful about that. But he has moved his knight away. So maybe I can try and soften up the king side over here. I might discourage him from playing f6. Okay, I can't immediately push on. Need to get the knight out of the way. And I can't play knight here. Maybe it's time to drop the bishop back so that I can play knight to knight to e5. Knight e5 and pawn to h5 is my plan. And what is black's plan? Keeping these pawns on light squares here is helpful in keeping his bishop out of the game. If I get my queen to g4 or pawn to h5, I have the bishop and the knight on e5 pointing at g6. That could be good. Okay, so he started to bring his queen back to a defensive kind of position here. Makes sense. Let's see if he wants to give up that good bishop or if he wants to weaken his pawn structure with f6. Yeah, interesting question. He does. He goes for f6. So I'm wondering what to play here. There's knight to g4 as well as f3, but they block this diagonal, which will stop me from pushing the h-pawn forward. There's also knight to d3 and knight to c4. Knight c4, he can just kick it. I can't exploit that just yet. So let's come around here. Keep this idea of h5 in the air. Now that he's weakened these pawns a bit already. Yeah, he brings his bishop out. Let's get that h5 move in. Ah, he passes by. Okay, that is interesting. So now knight up here, maybe. Go after the weakened. Go after the weakened d-pawn. Can I pile up on it in some way? Queen here, maybe. Looks a little bit dangerous, but my knight is hitting his bishop, so he can't just push that pawn. Well, maybe he can, but I can take the bishop. It's a trade, but then he's got to take back, and then I can take here, and then this is weak. And I do have three pieces targeting the that e6 pawn right now. So he just stepped back. Ah, that way his bishop is defended and it's out of range of my knight. So now he is threatening to push. I can take, and then he can attack the pinned knight. Can I defend it in any way? I can defend with the bishop. Let's go ahead and take, because the defending with the bishop will also unpin it. And I am hitting his queen. He's got to deal with that. Yeah, there may be some ideas to sacrifice here too. Bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, and then this is hanging. But then he can take the knight. Tricky position. Yeah, so he brings the queen there. Okay, so I am going to unpin immediately. Taking the bishop is next, my next idea. And maybe getting something here. So, yeah, doesn't taking the bishop gain a piece? I take the bishop, he takes the bishop, I take back with the knight and I'm a piece up. Take the bishop, he takes the knight, then I take the other bishop. With or without exchange of rooks. Yeah, he throws in that rook exchange. Okay, what does he do here? Yeah, I think I'm going to end up out of this a piece up. Let's hope I don't blow it. I've had so many games I couldn't convert recently. I just showed a couple of them in my last 2 videos. Ended up as draws. I've also had games that ended up as losses. Be nice to get a win in sometime. Okay, so he's taking away retreat squares from my bishop. And he's coming back to defend. But the bishop can just come back here. I don't need to do anything too radical, do I? Here is interesting too. So now I am thinking about this sacrifice. So bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, check. This is guarded, this is guarded. King has to go back to the corner. But then what? Let's get my bishop out of trouble. I'm still thinking of that sacrifice. And now I want to do it in such a way that this knight is hanging at the end. So bishop takes, pawn takes. Yeah, he fixed it. But now I can bring the bishop in here. Got this square. And maybe rook to maybe rook to e6. It's also queen e4. Queen e4. Yeah, it's a double attack. It hits the knight and it threatens to come in here. So he goes there anyway. Ooh, I thought he couldn't do that. So I take, the knight takes. Okay, let's drop back and hit the knight. Got the queen coming in with check also. Yeah, 2 attackers, 2 defenders. I keep having this idea I can take that pawn, but it does not work. So I have the check. I lost the sound at this point, but the game was pretty much over. So anyway, you can watch the rest of this in silence and check out the postmortem. See you then. Bye.